It started with a siren, a single wail, sharp and sudden, slicing through the late afternoon hum of downtown Dallas. Then came the shouting. Hands where I can see 'em! Now! People turned, phones raised, and there she was, standing in front of a coffee shop near Main and Harwood, holding nothing but a tablet and a reusable mug. No sudden movements, no raised voice, no threat. Just a black woman in her 40s, dressed in a dark green pantsuit and low heels, with a satchel slung over one shoulder. Her name was Sloan Mitchell, a name the officers didn't recognize. Not yet, but they would. Oh, hell no, murmured a man sitting at the bus stop across the street. She didn't do nothing. I was right here. She just walked out the damn cafe. The two officers didn't seem to care. One of them, a tall, heavy-set white cop named Halvers, moved in first. The other, shorter and twitchier, kept his hand on his taser the whole time. I said hands up! Sloan calmly placed her coffee mug on the sidewalk, lifted both arms. There's been a mistake, she said. I haven't done anything. Halvers stepped closer. We got a report of someone matching your description, casing cars on this block. I just stepped out of a meeting. Oh yeah? The twitchy cop barked. You got ID to prove that, sweetheart? Sloan opened her mouth to speak, but Halvers was already grabbing her arm. Turn around. I'm a licensed attorney. I work 2 blocks from here. Turn around. He yanked her wrist behind her back. A gasp rippled through the crowd forming nearby. People started filming. Sloan didn't resist, but her eyes didn't flinch either. She stared straight ahead, at the crowd, at the phones, at the sky, as Halvers clicked the cuffs tight and pushed her forward. It was happening, in broad daylight, on the sidewalk, to a woman who had never once been arrested in her entire life. The twitchy cop muttered into his radio, "One in custody, we'll bring her in for questioning." A woman watching from a nearby bench stood up. "This is wrong," she said. "I know her. She's not who you think she is." Halvers turned. "Ma'am, step back." "No," the woman insisted. "You're making a mistake." But Sloan didn't look at her. She didn't look at anyone. She just let out a breath, slow, controlled, almost practiced. And for a moment, if you look close enough, you'd see it. That tiny flicker in her eyes. That whisper of a storm waiting to break. Because what the officers didn't know, what no one watching knew, was that Sloan Mitchell had spent the last 18 years fighting civil rights violations like this one. That she'd argued in federal courtrooms, exposed corruption in sheriff's departments, and written the policy brief that helped take down a rogue precinct in Missouri 2 years ago. But today she was just another black woman in cuffs, until she wasn't. Inside the patrol car, the air was thick with silence. Sloan sat still in the back seat, wrist cuffed behind her, face unreadable. Her knees brushed the plastic divider with every bump in the road. Outside, the city blurred past, glass towers, office workers, lunch carts, all oblivious to the humiliation unfolding inside that cruiser. Officer Halvers smirked into the rearview mirror. "You folks always got a smart mouth. Let's see how smart you are when you're booked." The other officer, his name tag read Brenner, was quieter now, less sure. "Maybe we should have waited for backup," he muttered. "What if she really is who she says?" Halvers snorted. "An attorney? Walking alone? No badge? No business card? Nah, she's just another scammer running her mouth." But she didn't resist. Which makes her smarter than most. Still doesn't mean she's clean. They pulled into the station on Flora Street, an old building, dull gray bricks, rusted metal steps, a place more familiar with punishment than process. As they dragged Sloan inside, the front desk officer looked up and frowned. "What's this?" "Suspect matching B&E description on Harwood. No ID, no answers. Might be casing cars." The desk officer glanced at Sloan, then back at Halvers. "She looks familiar." "She says she's a lawyer." Sloan finally spoke, calm, steady. "My license number is 217340TX. I'd like my phone call, and I'd like it now." Halvers rolled his eyes. "We'll get to that. You're required to process me properly or release me. Detaining me without charge is unlawful under both Texas Penal Code and federal civil rights law." That's when the lieutenant walked in. A gray-haired woman with years of stress etched into the corners of her mouth. She scanned the room, then stopped cold when she saw Sloan. "Where did you pick her up?" Halvers shrugged. for shrug. Downtown, suspicious activity. You ID her? She refused. Sloan cut in. I didn't refuse. I offered to show credentials. He grabbed me before I could. Of course she says that, Halvers added. The lieutenant's eyes narrowed. Take the cuffs off, now. Halvers hesitated, but now. The air snapped. Brenner stepped forward, fumbling for the key. Ma'am, we didn't know. You didn't know who she was, the lieutenant hissed. You didn't think to ask. Sloan rubbed her wrists as the cuffs came off. Her eyes stayed locked on Halvers. You're going to regret this, she said softly. Not a threat, just a truth, spoken aloud. But Halvers still didn't get it. You think we're scared of some fancy lawyer act? You're on camera now. We're the ones doing our job. Sloan stepped forward, calm, grounded. I wasn't going to say anything, she said. Not to you, not today. But now? She leaned in. Now I'm going to bury you. Meanwhile, outside, the videos had already gone viral. Footage from 3 different angles showed a calm, professional black woman being shoved, cuffed, and tossed into a cruiser without warning, without cause, without resistance. By nightfall, the videos hit 4.7 million views on X. Hashtags trended. Justice for Sloan, racist Dallas PD. She is the law. News stations scrambled for statements. The city council asked for an emergency review. Protesters started gathering outside the station, demanding answers. And inside, Officer Halvers was starting to sweat. He kept pacing, jaw clenched. They're overreacting. We didn't hurt her. We were cautious. She didn't even match the description, Brenner said quietly. We got the call about a teenager in a hoodie. She was in a damn pantsuit. Halvers barked, don't start. But it was too late. The wheels had started turning. Sloan Mitchell had kept her power quiet until now. And the system that let Halvers feel untouchable, it was about to be exposed brick by crooked brick. By 6:20 p.m., the press was already at the precinct gates. Floodlights, boom mics, news vans clogging the block. Reporters hounded the front desk. Protesters chanted on the sidewalk. And the chief of police, Martin Gibbons, a man who hadn't shown his face on the ground floor in weeks, was now storming down the stairs like the building was on fire. Where is she? He demanded. The lieutenant, arms crossed, pointed to the holding area. Conference room. We never processed her. She's not a perp, Gibbons barked. She's Sloan Mitchell. Sloan Mitchell Martin, the woman who took down the Carter County corruption ring last year. Halvers stood nearby, pale now, sweat dampening his collar. Sir, I didn't know. No, Gibbons cut him off. You didn't care. You saw a black woman standing on a sidewalk and assumed the worst. You wanted a collar. You got yourself a crisis. She was acting suspicious. Suspicious? She was checking her email on a bench outside a Starbucks. The door to the conference room opened. Sloan walked out, calm, collected, wearing the same dark green suit, but now different. Poised like she was walking into a courtroom she already owned. Gibbons turned to her. Ms. Mitchell. You can call me counselor, she said, voice low and sharp, because the lawsuit will be filed by morning. Halvers stepped forward, arms outstretched. Look, I'm sure we can talk this out. Sloan's eyes locked on his. You assaulted me. You detained me illegally. You denied my rights on camera in front of witnesses for absolutely nothing. It was a misunderstanding, no? No, she snapped. It was profiling, plain and simple. And now it's going to cost this city more than your salary's worth. The room froze. No one breathed. And then, boom, the press got wind of her name. A junior reporter in the back scrolled through a law firm website. Oh my God, he whispered. She's not just a lawyer. She's senior counsel at Thompson and Denton. She's the one who fought the state over those wrongful convictions last year. Another voice added, she guest lectured at Yale. She's testified in Congress. The shift was instant. The public now knew exactly who had been humiliated, and they were furious. City Hall issued a statement. The mayor called for an internal affairs investigation. Civil rights organizations lined up behind her. And in the precinct, the chaos. Halvers sat in a back office, head in his hands. Brenner paced the hallway, whispering into his phone. And in the main conference room, Sloan laid out every step of what would come next, with a lawyer from her firm already on speaker. We'll request full surveillance footage, radio logs, body cam audio. We'll subpoena training records, disciplinary files, and complaint history. If there's a pattern of abuse or misconduct, there is, the lieutenant muttered. You wouldn't believe the reports we've buried. Sloan didn't flinch. Then it's time to unbury them. Chief Gibbons tried to offer a compromise. We can suspend the officers. Public apology. Settlement. No deal, she said. I'm not here for hush money. Then what do you want? Her answer came without pause. I want the system that let this happen to crack. I want it to hurt. I want reform, not regret. The next morning, every major outlet carried the story. ABC, CNN, MSNBC. Photos of her in cuffs were everywhere. So were the headlines. Renowned civil rights lawyer wrongfully detained by Dallas PD. Sloan Mitchell targets systemic abuse. One arrest, one woman, one reckoning. And inside the station, Halvers was placed on administrative leave. Brenner was quietly reassigned. But Sloan wasn't done. She was just getting started. The lawsuit, that was just the beginning. While the press swarmed City Hall and Halvers tried to scrub his social media clean, Sloan Mitchell was already 5 steps ahead. By Friday morning, she was seated inside a federal building across town. This time not as a victim, but as an invited guest. A hearing room, oak-paneled walls, a round table of state legal advisors, civil rights leaders, and federal compliance officers. And at the head, Deputy Attorney General Laura Beckett. She didn't offer a handshake. She offered a folder, thick, stamped, confidential. Sloan opened it. Inside, complaints, internal memos, suppressed body cam footage, whistleblower testimonies, all tied to Dallas PD's 43rd precinct, the same precinct that arrested her. Why now? Beckett asked. Sloan didn't blink. Because now the world's watching, and I want them to see exactly what I've known for years. See, this wasn't an isolated incident. What happened to her? It was systemic, and she had proof. Because for the last 6 months, Sloan had been working undercover with a coalition of civil rights attorneys, collecting data on racial profiling, wrongful arrests, and falsified reports. She didn't tell anyone, not even her firm. It had to look real. She had to be seen as just another black woman. And now that she'd been arrested, publicly, she had the final puzzle piece. What happened to me was the last nail, she said. Now I can crack it all open. Back at the precinct, Halvers sat in a closed-door meeting with his union rep, sweat darkening the fabric under his arms. On the wall, a TV playing news coverage of Sloan walking up the courthouse steps. She's demanding full audits, the union rep muttered. Budget, discipline records, every damn use of force report for the past 10 years. She's bluffing, Halvers said, voice hollow. She isn't. She can't destroy the whole department. The rep looked him dead in the eye. She doesn't have to, just you and everyone who protected you. Across the city, dominoes started to fall. The local bar association opened an ethics inquiry into prosecutorial misconduct. A state senator who once endorsed tougher policing now backpedaled on live TV, calling for reform in light of new evidence. And then came the firestorm. Leaked emails. Someone from inside of the 43rd sent them to Sloan's office. Hundreds of them. Officers joking about planting weed on smart-mouth punks. Supervisors ignoring body cam footage when it contradicted their reports. And one line that changed everything. Mitchell's just another one of those uppity beaks. We'll teach her what justice feels like. The mayor saw it. The governor saw it. The DOJ saw it. And then something shifted. Not in Sloan. In them. They realized she wasn't afraid. Not anymore. She had been cuffed in public, yes. But now they were the ones bound. By paper trails, by videos, by a woman who knew exactly how to weaponize the law. The final twist? Sloan didn't just want justice for herself. She wanted it for every name buried in those files. So she partnered with a nonprofit, Justice Ledger. Together, they launched a searchable archive of complaints, settlements, and case histories. Publicly accessible, brutally transparent. Within hours, thousands logged in. Within days, dozens of cold cases were reopened. The 43rd precinct, now under full federal investigation. That night, Sloan returned home. The cameras were still following her, reporters still shouting questions. But she didn't stop. She walked up her porch steps, paused at the top, and turned. Let me be clear, she said. This was never about revenge. It's about reckoning. She looked straight into the camera, and it's only just begun. Monday morning, 3rd Precinct. Officer Halvers walked in wearing plain clothes. No badge, no gun, just a resignation letter folded in half, clenched tightly in his hand. He didn't make it past the front desk. 2 agents from Internal Affairs were already waiting for him. One held a sealed folder. The other read from a list. Disciplinary review, suspension pending termination, federal inquiry for civil rights violations. You are hereby relieved of duty. Halvers didn't speak, didn't fight, just stood there as his world unraveled, slowly, publicly, completely. Across town, Detective Brenner resigned quietly. No fanfare, no press, but whispers spread fast. He'd offered a sworn affidavit detailing misconduct within the department. He flipped to save himself. By the end of the week, 3 captains, 2 supervisors, and 1 deputy chief were placed on administrative leave. And the city council, pressured by public outcry and legal heat, passed a sweeping police accountability ordinance named after the woman who started it all. The Mitchell Bill, mandatory bias training, independent civilian review boards, transparency and use of force reports, whistleblower protections. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start, and it carried her name. The courtroom was silent when she walked in. Sloan Mitchell, dark gray dress suit, no entourage, no cameras inside today, just a judge, a microphone, and the quiet rhythm of justice being recorded. This court finds, the judge said, reading slowly from the bench, that the defendant officers acted outside their authority and violated constitutional protections guaranteed by both state and federal law. He looked up. At this time, the city of Dallas agrees to a $4.2 million settlement. But more importantly, public acknowledgement of wrongdoing and commitment to implement all recommendations by the Federal Oversight Committee. Sloan didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She stood, nodded once, and spoke only one sentence. Put it in writing. Outside, the courthouse steps were lined with supporters, activists, lawyers, mothers, fathers, survivors. Signs read, "Justice is watching. Sloan speaks for us all. Change the system. Don't just apologize." And then a woman stepped forward, mid-50s, nervous, holding an old photo. "My son," she said softly. "He was arrested 2 years ago, beaten. They said it was his fault. Your lawsuit opened his case again." Sloan looked at the photo, looked into the woman's eyes, and for the first time that week, she let her guard down. Just for a second, a breath, a truth. "You're not alone anymore," she said. 3 months later, the Justice Ledger had grown to over 1 million users. Multiple states reached out to replicate the platform. A congressional subcommittee invited Sloan to testify. And late one night, sitting in her quiet office, she got a call. Unknown number. She answered, "Is this Sloan Mitchell?" "It is. I just wanted to say thank you. You don't know me, but because of you, my case is being reopened. I never thought someone like me mattered. You made us matter." Then the line went dead. No name, no details. Just one voice, and it was enough. Sloan leaned back in her chair. Outside her window, the city pulsed under streetlights. And somewhere out there, someone else was watching. Someone still being profiled, doubted, silenced. But not for long. Not anymore. Because Sloan Mitchell had shown the world what justice really looks like. Not loud, not cruel, but deliberate, strategic, unbreakable. They tried to break her in 5 minutes. She changed the system in 5 months.